Hello everybody, it's Gen608 here in another Gen608 Plays. Um, Milestone 2 for Xenonauts2 has been dropped. It was dropped on the 27th of November. I was going to try and go through some of the changes, and I thought rather than me trying to go through them all or whatever, that we would just do sort of a playthrough so I can show you the changes as they come up. And that way you'll also get to see some of the playthrough that comes up as well. So we're going to start off a new game. One of the things I always wanted to make sure people know about is in the settings you can change a bunch of things about, like, whether you're going to have your camera scroll when you move your mouse to the edge, focusing when new enemies pop up, things like that. You can set the degrees of your camera rotation. I usually use 30 degrees because that's usually a little fine. That's fine enough, but if you do the free one, it gets to be very annoying. I have my autosave set at 30 days, but also at start of tactical and before a tactical combat, start of turn, things like that. Basically, I have it doing an autosave right before I'm going to do something stupid. That's the way I look at it. And then down here is custom soldiers. If you just type in a letter like A, like you can get, type in a couple letters, and you get all sorts of people that have that. See, there's nobody with that letter combination, so you can actually get people that'll have that sequence of the name. Those of us that were Kickstarters and Kickstarted at a certain level, we get our names in here. Okay. It won't show you everybody, so you have to have some idea of whose name you're looking for. Like has an HE in it somewhere, and it'll just go along and show you all the people that have things there. Okay. And we were allowed to customize our characters and things like that. So anyway, that's how you play around with settings. You can also mess with key combinations in there. If you don't like the escape key doing something and you want it to be some other key, you can bind keys just like all other games. So we're going to go ahead and do a new game start here. It's going to be called Jade Sky, so that's going to be our thing. If you've never played the original XCOM from the 1990s or Xenonauts 1, if you're like brand new to this whole genre, I strongly recommend you go to Recruit, and I'll show you the difference. Recruit gives you more money, starts off panic lower, you get more monthly funding, that's less enemies for you to deal with, their accuracy markers down, your survival chance is up. Tactical mission timers. There are some missions that have turn timers. On Recruit, you get an extra +1. On Soldier, it's just normal. And then as you go up in tougher, you get less time to do things, and things become tougher on you to play. The other thing you can do is, even if you're on a specific thing, if you want to change these individually to customize the game that you want to play, you can actually go, up here to like an extra 5 turns on timed things. If you really don't like timed missions, you want more turns to get it done, you can just add turns. And if you do that, it'll change it into a custom. Okay, and then you can play around with all these numbers if you want to do that. I'm going to go on Soldier because I have played XCOM 1 a couple times to completion, a few other times just to play around with it. And I've played the original XCOM game back from the 1990s. I played that one to death. I got to the point where I could play it on what they called Superhuman, which was a ridiculously hard, challenging thing, and I only ever lost once. So I'm kind of familiar with these games. Now, some of the changes they made, starting with the tutorial, there's a change. So we're going to go through the tutorial today and the beginning of the campaign. So we're going to start up our campaign. Oh, loud.
The year is 2009. The world teeters on the brink of nuclear war. Tensions between capitalist and communist nations are at boiling point. Every opportunity for peace has failed, as if an invisible hand inexorably steers humanity towards annihilation. We Xenonauts know the truth. The dark forces poisoning our politics are not human in origin, and we must protect our planet against this extraterrestrial threat however we can. After years spent gathering information on an enemy that few believe exist, we are finally ready to strike back. The war for our future begins now.
So that's pretty much the same. They cleaned up some of the what she says actually matches the text down below. In one of the earliest releases, the text, they had changed the voiceover to say something slightly different than what was typed in the text. And those of us in the beta testing world kind of pointed that out and said, you need to have the text match actually what she says. So that's been cleaned up. And what you're going to get here, the tutorial gameplay is pretty much the same, but the story behind it has changed some, so that's why I'm going through this. Once you've played the tutorial and you know how things work, excuse me, you really don't need to play the tutorial unless you want the flavor of the thing. So here we go. This is the text link, which is, you have to wait till it locks, and then you can go to the next link and it'll lock up, which is really nice. You can set the delay for these tooltips to lock like that. So now we're talking to our chief scientist. Working radar is now complete. I'm not going to read through these. Atlas space should be capable of tracking any alien within our radar range. That's our operations director. To borrow all those things you wanted. What happens now? We wait. Pass by in the next few days. At that point, the general takes over. Assuming he has returned from his expedition. This is a change. Used to be you were the general. You're not the general anymore. He'll be back in a few days. So he went off on an expedition. The commander should be perfectly capable of filling in. So what they've changed is your perspective is no longer the general in charge of Xenonauts. You're sort of a further down person. You're just called the commander. And then we get to wait for a little bit. It's radar range. It's going to explain how the radar works. That's this light blue circle you see there. More radars makes the range go out farther. And these buttons control time. They show you how to do the time speed. They tell you to go speed up so that you can get through the tutorial. Geoscape anomalies. Signify hostile action, raising local panic. You'll see Soviet Union is up by 20, up to 29, because it's like 2 per each one of these that come up. Okay, so now they found a UFO, and we're not going to slow. You can slow and center on the UFO and then decide which group should be attacking. You might want to launch from longer away if you see it heading towards another base. So that kind of gives you that. And then here we're going to do launch interceptors. This is another big change. In the original game, Milestone 1, we had 2 aircraft. Now we only have 1 aircraft, and you'll notice we have no missiles. We only have a cannon. So a lot of that has changed in the air combat thing. We launch our aircraft, and it says to commence the attack or auto-resolve. Commence the attack will take you into air-to-air combat, which we'll get to a little bit later in the playthrough here. But we'll just do, following the tutorial, doing what it tells us to do. We took some damage on our health and our weapon, used 36 rounds and 20% of our room, and we lost all our armor. And if you don't like what the auto-resolve does, you can always say, ignore this and try and fight the battle manually if you think you can do better. But tutorial says just accept it. Obtain valuable technology, blah, 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 blah. Crash, desert, persistent. I don't think they're actually technically persistent. I think you have to do them within a certain period of time, but it tells us to go ahead and launch the combat team. And we just go ahead and launch the aircraft. Then it'll take you to this here, where it shows you the stats of your people, and you can make sure you have the right people in here and everything else. So you just go ahead and launch here. As soon as we launch, hold the launch. The general is back. Fortuitous timing. I'm not so sure about that. There's a half a dozen trucks pulling up to the blast doors. Huh. Those appear to be cleaner vehicles. It seems highly improbable that the general would ever voluntarily join forces with them. Exactly. Commander, put your men on alert and deploy them to the entry tunnel. Something's definitely wrong here. Now we'll get to the tactical tutorial. And this might, yeah, it's already 10 minutes in, or 11 minutes in, so we'll do the tactical tutorial. The actual tutorial itself, the point, click, and move is all pretty much the same from what I remember. I've been playing Milestone 2 in the experimental branch to try and get changes and things implemented. And so here they show you how to do this, which is WSDA, and then you can turn. This is me doing my 30-degree turns. You can scroll up and down for height. And then we get our time units and things get refreshed every turn. So they show you down here, this is 60. Keep going. Welcome back to Atlas, General. Who are your new friends? Can't help but notice they've got a lot of guns. The Xenonauts project has been terminated, Director. Lay down your weapons. There's no need for this to turn ugly. Earth is under attack, General. You know that. We're not going to surrender our planet without a fight. Director, you're making a mistake. There is no extraterrestrial threat. Open the blast doors and surrender, or people are going to get killed. No extraterrestrial threat? What happened to you, General? Director, this isn't a discussion. I'm giving you 5 minutes to make a decision. You're outnumbered and there's nowhere to run. Think carefully about your choice. Over and out. If we surrender, what's the probability we turn up dead a week from now? Based on everything we know about the cleaners? Approximately 100%. Yeah, that's what I figured too. Now seems like a good time to evacuate to the backup facility. The backup facility? I wasn't aware we had one. I know, nor was the General. Commander, we need your men to hold the tunnels while we get everyone aboard the helicopter. Buy as much time as you can, but don't get yourself killed. Now the General's gone, we can't afford to lose you too. So I guess I'm like second in command. Alright, so now we go through the movement things. So you click here, and then you click again, and you run you up there. And then you rotate, just by right-clicking, and then you crouch. What you can do here. Press N turn. And then a bunch of other guys come running in here for the next part of the tutorial. You don't get to place all these people. And then come a whole bunch of cleaners in their hazmat suits. So you highlight over this guy, shows you the percent, click the enemy to attack. So between half the damage listed on the weapon and up to 2 times the damage of their damage value. Fire a second shot at the same target. And we take them down. And you can press space to go on to the next guy. Now if you click over here, you'll see that you can't really attack them real well, but you go ahead and do it anyway. And you miss. And space to switch to the next soldier. Soldier to the highlighted area. Use 2 shots at lower accuracy to passive short range hit chance bonus this weapon. So you hover over the target and you right click. You take a lower shot. You also notice down there your time units will show you how much time you have left. And then attack. And then you can attack them a second time. And you hit. And we go to the next soldier. So this guy is going to try and shoot there, and he's got problems. So you can actually go to this soldier. So select this guy. And you got to hold down the control key to target terrain. So you can shoot the terrain. Get the terrain out of the way. Now you click back on this guy. And you can shoot here now at a much better percent chance. And trust me, in the real game, this does not happen like this. It's not nearly as good to shoot. So now we have to click on this one. Alright, he's next, and what we're going to do is we're going to grab a satchel charge. And you throw it to here. And got rid of their cover and did a little bit of damage to them. He doesn't have enough time left to shoot his machine gun, so he's going to use his pistol and take out this one. So you can shoot this one as well, because pistols don't take that much. And these shots are doing exceedingly well because it's a tutorial. Good one. Believe me, it's not going to work that way. So you click here to show where you're going to move. Then you hold the shift key on him and it shows you where it's going to be. And then to do both, one right after the other, you just click on the guy and it runs up here and shoots him. And you get very, very lucky. And then you hit end turn and more guys are going to run in the doors. Okay, so everybody's gotten out of the base. You should be able to escape through the tunnels. Alright, now we're going to get somebody killed, because they told me to move here, and they're going to show you overwatch fire from the enemy. Killed the enemy, overwatch fire, blah blah blah, select the flashbang throw. So this guy's going to throw a flashbang right here. And that suppresses them. Suppression is good because it removes their time units for this turn, and it also makes them only get half of them back next turn. Remember that if your guys are close to a flashbang, they're going to suffer the same fate. So suppressing people is important. Harder to hit, and this is going to be using the smoke. By dropping smoke down here, you make it harder for the enemy to shoot you. You also have inflict some stun damage. And then this is the end of the tutorial. You move to here, and then right here it says you're done. Okay, so you're out. Coordinates of the backup facility. Okay, so we're done with the tutorial. In the future, I think what they're going to do is they're going to have that air combat that first started. There's going to be a tutorial space for that to show you how air combat works. You know, how to roll, how to do things. Right now it's sort of a hit and miss. They're still working on it. They've improved it a lot, but it's something you just have to deal with. So now we're going to get into the first day here, and I think I'm going to go ahead and cut this a little short. Commander. Good of you to finally make an appearance. Welcome to our backup facility. I understand voice actors are very expensive. It would have been nice to have these two have voices for these exchanges, because it would have been kind of neat to hear their two voices going at each other. But a command room and a cache room were installed a while back. The fact that our new home is a derelict nuclear bunker full of 60s era junk, though. Cold showers, cold food, and well, cold everything. It's hardly our biggest problem. Extra sector appears to be following a mathematically predictable pattern for precisely exponential growth. And we're nearing the end of the curve. In plain English. As arriving in our skies will soon begin to increase rapidly in size and or quantity. That'll be long until the aliens launch a full-blown invasion. Great, as if things weren't bad enough already. How long do we have? Weeks? A couple of months at most? Just to make most of them. So now you get to place your base. When you're placing your base, you have to think about coverage. I know a lot of people like to place, I hear a lot of people saying you should place it somewhere here in North Africa, because you cover almost all of Africa and most of Europe as well, and parts of other places. I tend to go, I put it just because I'm me. I tend to put it on Crete, just for kicks. Let's call this what are we going to call it instead of Europe? We'll just call it Crete. You have a base. Now go into the base screen because things have changed. They're still not randomizing this, so this is going to be your initial base layout. It is very poor for defending. It's not efficient, plain and simple. It just isn't. You only have 2 hangars now. You don't have 3. And you only have 1 airplane. And so this is where I'm going to leave off here. In the next video, I'll go over the base and some of the stuff that's changed about this stuff, you know, what's on your airplanes, and things like that. We'll go through the base, show you some of the changes that have happened, and we'll get into the beginning of the actual gameplay. Okay? So if you like what you see, hit the thumbs up button. Really like to see, go ahead and subscribe. Hit the notify bell, be notified to upload videos and or schedule streams. I'm Dren608. Until we meet again, stay safe and bye-bye.